Folks, welcome back. First and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. Without you, we wouldn't be here. The species would cease to exist. And I know I'm very grateful for all the sacrifices that you all put through every day, as I'm sure everyone else is, and we all thank you. Today's video, I want to take a change of pace, and I want to talk about competition and how there is no competition when it comes to Pokemon investing. I'll explain it, but before I get into that, I want to say I am not some participation trophy, we're all just here to have fun kind of guy. If you guys know me, I'm a very competitive person. I played AAA hockey growing up. I was in the junior PGA golf. I, fought mixed martial arts. Even when I play video games or board games, I'm very competitive. I am going to put in the work. I am going to put forth the effort. I am going to find new strategies, and I am going to do whatever it takes to beat you at anything I do. However, this is not that. And I understand the crossover, because most of us in this hobby, when it comes to investing, we're successful in our own lives. A lot of us are very competitive, and it just naturally crosses over to this side of things. Everyone wants to beat everyone. Everyone wants to make everything a competition, and it's good. There's nothing wrong with competition. It's just trying to make it to where if you're losing the competition on like percentage gains or something, that you somehow did something wrong or you're somehow lesser than, because there are way more factors to play into it. I'm going to explain them right now. So, the best correlation I can come up with, and for you, those of you that have never gambled, I'm sorry, but let's take sitting at a blackjack table. I don't condone gambling, but this is a pretty good comparison. If you sit down at a blackjack table and you're not out on a Friday night with your buddies just having fun, you go there and you want to sit down, you want to gamble, and you want to make money. And your goal at that table, right, is not to worry what the girl next to you or the guy next to you is doing with their money, or how much they sat down with, how much they walk away with, how big their bets are, how much they're making. You don't care. All you care about is how to preserve the amount of money you had and how to consistently build that every hand, every shoe, taking the most high percentage plays you can, not just to win the most, but also not lose, okay? That's what investing is, right? When it comes to a blackjack tournament, all that's out the window. You're there to win, right? It's not like the blackjack table on a regular night where you're not competing against the girl next to you and the guy next to you. No, the tournament, you're competing, right? And so you're going to take a lot of different plays because you bought in the tournament, all the chips you got, they don't have any value. They have numbers on them, so you got at the end you can see who won, count up who has the most chips, but they don't actually have value, right? You just bought in for a set amount. If you win a prize pool, okay? And so your whole goal is to just try to get more units than the other person. And you're going to do a lot of crazy plays. You're going to split tens. You're going to double down when you shouldn't double down. You're going to take all kinds of much lower percentage plays, but they have higher payoffs, higher rewards, just to make sure you can get ahead of the competition. And, if you do mess up and you do lose and go to zero, oh well, you lost the competition, but you were going to lose anyway if you didn't take those risks. So you had to take them. Makes sense? So that is the whole, flipping and I guess business side of the community and this whole competition side of the community that people try to make it. That is not investing, right? And I've talked about it before. I'm not going to digress into this, but comparing like flipping or like people running a business, you can't compare that to investing. People always want to show their gains or how much money they make per month and say, see, I made more than you investors. It's like, okay, well, this guy working a C-suite job at this Fortune 500 company made more than you. And you're both working full time. Compare income to income. Now, what are you invested in? No. Not you're flipping Pokemon and making plays. What are you invested in where you put money somewhere and the money works for you? You don't work for the money, not income. How are your investments doing? Your appreciation doing? How are your mutual funds? How's your 401k? Are you in real estate? How's that doing? Did that outperform Pokemon? If the answer is yes, well then good job. If the answer is no, well then you can't really say you're outperforming Pokemon investing because you're working, right? And it's like someone, like I said, working some C-suite Fortune 500 job saying, well, I outperformed your investing. It's like, dude, you make $1 million a year. Right? I mean, you could put 500 grand into something, lose half of it, and outperform most people's investing, right? Like, what are we talking about here? And so That's the first thing I wanna kind of get through everyone's mind. I know I talk about it all the time, but make sure you understand that when you see all that content and all that posted. All right, next, when it comes to the investment side, remember the first half of this. It's not all about making the most amount of money, taking all these risky, volatile plays like you would in a blackjack tournament. It's about protecting your money first, protecting your wealth, limiting your downside risk, not taking losses, while also taking high percentage plays that will grow your money over time that you can still make high percentage gains with. That's the only goal. And so the internet's a funny place, especially if you're on YouTube and Discord and Instagram and other places, I'm not going to come out and say anyone's lying, right? Because there are people out there that are successful. But what you're going to get a lot online is you're going to get a lot of fabricated stories, right? Fabricated stories about how much someone actually bought the item for, how much they actually sold the item for. Also, you're going to get very half-truths, like people showing the 5 cards or 5 items they made huge gains on, but not showing the 95 others that are stagnant, barely grew, or actually took losses on. And so they give a very unrealistic view, kind of like an Instagram snapshot of their life on how their investments are doing to try to, prove whatever it is they want to prove, or try to advance their agenda on whatever they're trying to push at the time. And so that's one thing you want to be careful of online, is when you see people posting certain cards from certain times or certain products and talking like it's the rule. Just remember, a lot of the times it's not the rule. It's one, maybe they got lucky, maybe they got in the right time, or maybe they just took so many freaking chances that of course a few of them paid off. Hey, if you take a handful of darts and just throw it at a dartboard, odds are a couple of them are going to land in the bullseye, right? But guess what? The majority of them are not going to land on the bullseye because they're going to go all over the place. Some of them aren't even going to hit the board. Some are going to just fall on the floor, going to lose. And so just remember that when you see all the online, craziness going around, because guys, you know how it is. Everyone just wants to make up stuff online and look like they're, big ball and shot calling and stuff. So remember that. But your goal isn't about all that. When it comes to investing, your goal is to limit your downside risk, not take losses, and still make high percentage plays where you are going to see appreciation over long periods of time. And so, you're not worried about the fact that I should have bought Lost Origin over Astral Radiance or Brilliant Stars. I should have just threw it all in Evolving Skies. I should have just threw it all in one-piece blue bottom boxes. Why did I buy this? Why did I buy that? Why didn't I sell there? Why didn't I buy here? Why didn't I buy more? Why didn't I not diversify and throw it all in one thing instead of diversify? I'm such an idiot. Look at this guy. He made 50% last year. I only made 40. And we just naturally get into these competitive modes in our mind and convince ourselves why what we're doing isn't sufficient enough or isn't good, and why what they're doing is, and how we need to change up. Guys, all you're trying to do here, right, is not lose money and grow your wealth over time. Some plays are going to be better than others. Some plays are going to be worse than others, right? But at the end of the day, as long as you feel confident in what you're investing in, understand it, you feel like your risk to reward ratio is very low on the risk and very high on the reward, it continues to pay off at a substantial amount rate percentage gain that you see that is better than other places you could put your money. That's all we're looking for. That's all we're looking for. If I can look at Pokemon at the end of the year and say I made 50%, I made 40%, and I look at the S&P index and it's only like at 15, 20%, I look at, the mutual funds and they're at the same, I look at, what I could have done, in investing in real estate, and I'm like, oh man, only, real estate's kind of stagnant, maybe I see the little percentage gains, maybe if I want to rent it out, I make a little on the rent, but that's not really passive investing because you're still dealing with renters. If you're not doing that, you're dealing with a property manager, you're dealing with this, dealing with that, and so that's not even passive investing, right? There's a level of work that goes on into that. Right? The only true passive investments are the stock market and Pokemon until it comes time to sell, so that means Pokemon's on 100% passive, but while it's gaining value, it's passive, right? You buy it, you stick it on a shelf, you don't even have to look at it. You don't even have to look at the market, you don't have to do anything. And then, if you want 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever years down the road, you want to look at the market, see where it's at, and you want to sell, there's a little bit of work, for sure. A little bit, small amount, right? Nowhere near what anything else is out there. Nowhere near running a business. There's a little bit. And so you just have to ask yourself, well, is that little bit of work at the end worth the whole slew of extra percentage gains you're going to make compared to a lot of these other investments. And that's going to be a different story for everyone, right? Because a lot of people talk about that being a downside of Pokemon investing is, having to sell the stuff at the end. And I get it. That is a downside. Absolutely. You can't click a button and sell it, but odds are, and what history has shown us, you're going to make a great deal more percentage gains in this stuff, and so it might be worth it to you. Now, same thing goes for the whole flipping business side. People are going to say, well, I can make a lot more percentage gains running a business and flipping this stuff again and again and again, and that might be worth it to you, right? But again, don't get the two mixed up, right? Running a business, flipping things, that is work. Letting things sit on a shelf. Guys, these boxes have been sitting on this shelf. This has probably been sitting here since it was like $300 and something a box, right? So I've made over $300 on that Evolving Skies box, right? I mean, I made hundreds on Fusion Strike, all these. I've made money with these literally sitting here, not moving. Look, collecting dust, right? That's investing. When your money makes you money without working, that's investing, right? Sourcing a card, putting it in a plastic, or buying a collection, breaking it down, making listings, shipping those out, doing it again, that's working. Please understand that when you start getting in these competitions online of, well, I made, 300% last month, you only made 10%. It's like, okay, you worked, 160 hours, 40 hours a week. I didn't work. I sat with my feet up watching TV. I was on the golf course. I was at the pool, right? Right? Am I right? Like that's the difference here. And so that's all. That's the only thing I want to get across, guys, is understand who you're in competition with, which is no one, and understand what the competition is. The competition is to preserve your wealth and grow your wealth with high percentage plays. It is not to beat the guy next to you like at the blackjack tournament table. If you want to beat them, well, hey, you're gonna have to take some volatile, risky plays if you want to try to start beating everyone. I'll tell you that right now. You're not gonna do it investing in booster boxes. I'll tell you right now. I talk really highly of booster boxes. You will not win this game investing in booster boxes. Promise you. Promise you. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win this game investing in this stuff. You're not gonna do it. You're also not gonna win the game investing in mutual funds. You're not gonna win the game investing in S&P 500. You're not going to win the game just, buying a piece of real estate and renting it out. You're not going to win, right? Because there's going to be options traders and futures traders and crypto traders and, people in the Pokemon space that are making huge, massive plays. They're the ones that are going to win, right? Now, a huge percentage of them are all going to lose miserably, but the ones, the cream that rises to the top, they're going to win. They'll beat your percentage gains. They'll beat my percentage gains. They'll kill us. But that's not the competition. We're not trying to be, the last remaining survivor, the one out of the million that makes it, right? Because we're trying to be the many that all make it relatively quickly. Maybe not the fastest, maybe not the most. That's what we're trying to do here, guys. So don't get it twisted. Understand what the whole purpose here is. And it will serve you well, especially dealing with all the internet stuff, especially when you start feeling like you're lesser than, that like other people's plays or people are getting ahead of you and they're making more and all this stuff. Just think back to this video, remember what the goal is, and like I said, it'll serve you well going forward. That's all I got. Again, hope everyone enjoys their Mother's Day with their mothers, and I'll be back here in a new video soon. I'm out.